speak Spanish. But here we were talking about building a company in Europe, in Spain, in Madrid, not known for being a technology place. And Europe overall in Silicon Valley, I think, has a reputation of being like, I don't know, like an older person who used to look good, you know, who used to somehow do well. And now I think we're perceived in Europe as somewhat decadent, maybe to see us because of the monuments and the things that we used to do, right? So when you come up with a global movement out of something we do now, it's I think it's shocking in Silicon Valley, but for me what was particularly shocking was to see how well we're doing in Asia. Now, one thing about Asia that I've learned, that I'm new to Asia, is that in Asia, your dream is, when you finally make it, is you want to be a European. And you go to Hong Kong and it's all the European brands. You go to Japan and it's all the European brands. Some American brands, but mostly European brands. And I was extremely encouraged by the fact that the Asians were very happy with all our Spanish words, foneros, anything we want to say. And I was in some way thinking, well, these are the most amazing people in the world, because the Asians will clearly dominate the world in the next 50 years. There's no doubt about it. But I was at the same time thinking that so long as we make their dreams, we have somewhat of a future, you know? And that's something that I really gave me a lot of confidence, that the people of Asia are amazing at making gadgets, and they're amazing at making our foneras, for example, which they've engineered very well and they made for a very low cost. But in Barcelona is where we make all the software for these foneras. They make the drivers, but we make the software. Now, of course, there are problems of building a global company in Spain. One is that Spain has a lot of holidays, and people feel like taking them off. And even though I explained that there was a salary for working regular days and a stock option for working the other days, it's been hard to convey that message. Stock options are pretty unusual in Spain. I built there Jastel, the second largest publicly traded telecom company, and Ya.com, which I sold to Deutsche Telekom, and many people have made significant amounts of money with me in Spain. But one of the problems with those people who do is that many of them I find mostly at the gym when I go to work out. And I'm saying, like, so when are we going to do another startup? And one of the biggest problems of Spain is that there's a general lack of ambition, because ambition in Spain is seen as a negative thing. If you say, I'm ambitious, they say, that's horrible. That's not something that, if you say, I want to stand out, that's also a very negative thing. If you make money in Spain, basically you have to apologize every day of your life. I'm sorry I made money. No, I didn't steal it. It just goes against the mentality of a lot of people. But at the same time, the minority of people in Spain who are really into technology, they see in phone an opportunity sort of as a way out of a country that otherwise they love, and they want to stay there. I ended up going to Spain practically as a coincidence, really, because I lived in America and I used to go to Spain on vacation, and I was just thinking, if I could only work in America during the day and party in Spain at night, that sort of would be the ideal combination. But then I found out that in Spain there's actually a lot of hardworking people, but our style of being Spanish has been very well received all over the world. Because what Phone does is we launch Phone with fiestas. We just launched with big fiestas, big parties. We just had a very big fiesta in Tokyo, a very big fiesta in Taiwan. And so Marcha, which is the Spanish thing, going out at night, for all of you who've been in Spain, just, go out all night. You wonder how the Spanish do it, because they're always eating late and partying late, and then they still go to work. And what we decided is to make virtue out of a defect. out of a flaw, and which is we're proud that we're always fiesta. You know, we're proud that we party all the time. And what we did is we just started doing parties all over the world. And that's how we launched Fun. And we discovered that actually people love to party. They love to party in Taiwan, where, for example, in Hong Kong, Yatsu, our Fonero leader, who was actually a speaker at this conference last year, was sharing with me that his son, who's 2 years old, goes to school. 2 years old, he goes to school. He goes to school to learn Mandarin, and he learns to read at the age of 2. So I was looking in general, and I was saying, but how can it be that the people in Asia start working so hard at the age of 2? They go to school, they do all these things they do, but then actually the GDP of Spain per capita is higher than the GDP of Korea. How can that be? What is it that we do in Spain that makes us party, not study seriously, not be ambitious, apply all the wrong recipes, but somehow we do better than the Koreans who study school at the age of 2? And the French, by the way, on the average, and the French who are, if not on vacation, on strike, they still somehow do better than most of the Asians. What do they do? Now, I don't have an answer, but what I can tell you is that there's clearly a law of decreasing returns, that obviously in Europe we work less, no doubt about it, we work much less. But somehow, I don't know what we do, we think. I guess we create, we do something by which many people in the rest of the world want to be like us. You know, and I don't think we should lose that. A lot of people in America used to want to be like French until Bush came along, and then it became very embarrassing to be French. But I think that's changing now, and people would like to be French or European again. Certainly the Asians want to be like Europeans. And certainly there's just, to me, there's no clear relation between the hours that are devoted to projects and the outcome. And that's one of the key elements of being successful, of why Europe is successful. I think Europe has probably the highest productivity in the world, in the sense that Europe does reasonably well with such little work. You know, I mean, the Americans maybe do better overall, but if you look at the hours that the average German person works, you know, you say, but they gotta be the most productive people in the world, because they all leave home, or many people leave home early, they go home early, they don't work, you know, they take a lot of holidays, but somehow the GDP per capita is comparable to that of the United States, and you wonder, how is it? So obviously when we work very well. So the people at Fun they work, they also put long hours, and the result has been that we created this you know, extremely successful global company in a year. Last week we became the largest Wi-Fi network operator in Japan, in Taiwan, by number of access points. So I don't have a recipe, but all I can say is that you can get the people who like to party the most, who are the Spaniards, who are the least ambitious, who are the Spaniards, the people who somehow were the least likely candidates to do well, and we've done super well, and we didn't move to Silicon Valley. With all the admiration I have for Silicon Valley, which I didn't know until a year ago, and with my partners at eBay and my partners at Google and everything I see there, the most amazing corporations in the world in some way, and they're clearly the mecca of the internet and so on, I do believe that there's something magic or special that we do in Europe that I don't understand very well what it is. But in the end, if I had to create Fun all over the world, I would do it in Europe, maybe in Israel. I would do it in this part of the world. I think there is something about this part of the world that also we're extremely used to working in other languages. We launch our services in many languages very quickly, and we get going. So with that introduction, maybe I'll open the floor for questions. If you have any questions on this debate of whether it makes sense to work in Europe, Asia, or you know, versus working in the United States, of course, on the internet, and or any comments on this. So thank you, and if there's any questions, please raise your hand.
Hi, Martin. So, how much would you attribute, I mean, first of all, congratulations on all the wonderful success of Phone and the other companies that you've had. But I think maybe you're underestimating the power of the actual entrepreneur who is leading the effort, who is actually doing it. That no matter where you were, that you'd be able to help build a successful, strong, visionary company. And how would you relate the amount of time and effort that you have to put into traveling to other places to work with partners and customers and see them face to face, as compared to a place, say, like the San Francisco Bay Area and Silicon Valley, where it's just a short drive?
No, you got me on that one. It's true. I mean, it's true. I mean, obviously, if we were in Silicon Valley, I mean, when I go there, like you said, it's not a short drive away, because every time I go there, like Palo Alto, San Francisco, I spend a lot of time in my car, but certainly not 12 hours on a plane one way, 12 hours on a plane the other way. Was in Asia last week. Saw my family in Paris now, going to the States next week. So it is true that one of the most wonderful things about Silicon Valley is that it's all there. And regarding myself, and I really appreciate your comments, yes, I do think that one of the missing things in Spain is people who have the cojones to be right or wrong, you know? Like, phone is a crazy, crazy, crazy idea. Like, this idea that people will build their own phone company by putting a base station by the window, it's a lunatic idea, okay? Now, yes, I go there everywhere, I preach phone, I say the virtues of having Wi-Fi everywhere, and we grow, and we convince people like Google and Skype. And you're right that it would be hard for people in Spain, because the education is just not there to create entrepreneurs. When you have a country that people really want to grow up to be a government employee, which is unfortunately how many Spaniards want, or the job attribute that they want the most is job security, above job being entertaining, fascinating, diverse. I mean, I saw polls that were done by the newspaper Expansión, and the attribute that the people wanted out of a job is safety. Job safety was more than anything else. And of course, if you're an entrepreneur, you take a lot of risks. That's exactly the one thing you don't have, safety. So yes, I think working in Spain is a problem. Also, I have an advantage that I grew up in Argentina, and I lived in Spain for many years, and Spain is like my country now, and I talk to everybody, and that's easy. Maybe for an American or somebody who comes to Spain, that would be harder. But I still think, I know of foreign entrepreneurs who have come to Spain. I see Anil here. He's gone to Spain from Switzerland, and you built a very successful company there. The guys at Vpod, who are also, I'm an investor in their company, they moved to Spain and built a successful company there. And I see more and more foreign entrepreneurs who go to Spain. So I think it's an opportunity. Also, Spain threw out all the Jews in 1492s and the Arabs, and we're very entrepreneurial people, both of us, and so now there's a vacuum, and we go back. So I think there is an opportunity, but you're right that a lot of partly self-driven, and California will always have that advantage over other places in the sense that everybody's there.
Hello? Yeah. Hi. I'm Axel Schmiegelo again from Germany. And Martin, I like what you say about culture, but frankly I don't buy that it's a national culture thing. I think in the US too you have 300 million people, and they're not 300 million entrepreneurs, although there are considerably more entrepreneurs than in Europe. What I think is happening is, in Europe too, there's this generation coming up for the past 10 years that is open-minded, cosmopolitan, with a can-do attitude. And I say this, I come from Germany, right? So please laugh. And what I think is, what we need is places for people with a culture like that to coalesce, to come together. That's what Silicon Valley is about. They're all close. And that's why I would like everybody here in the room to give a huge hand to Loic, because it's events like this that create that kind of connections. I have experienced more in the past 3 hours than in the past 4 weeks. Loic?
Bravo, Loic. Bravo, Loic.
Thank you very much.
No, I agree. I think the fact that Loic hosted this whole event here and got us all going, I mean, thank you. It was
Thank
really
you
good.
for coming. It's just the event I would have liked to have. So
Very good. Before you throw me out of the stage,
I don't for you. You'll stay on the panel if you're
okay,
available.
Great, I'm available.
I know you have 10 interviews,
I just wanted
maybe
to say that anybody who's come to this conference can get a Fonera for free, and that you have a little package there. So when you go to the shop and it says 30 euros, you say you've been to this conference and it's free.
And you notice that this was a very good talk without marketing, right? Just at the end.
Just at the end.
And it's perfectly fine. Please stay on the panel, Martin.
Thank you.
So, you know Jeff already. I was